Hello, so here we have this Spirea. I believe it's a candy corn double play Spirea. Gets awesome color in the fall, very vibrant. Also gets these really beautiful fuchsia colored blooms in the spring, summer. They're all faded now. But this is a pollinator magnet, so it is amazing for pollinators. I have to, unfortunately, take this out of this spot because it has outgrown this location at the edge of the driveway. As you can see, it comes over the driveway quite a bit. And actually my neighbor has asked me to trim it down last year, and I did a severe trim. But what ended up happening is it actually got bigger because of the pruning. So I'm gonna take it down quite a bit, and I don't wanna have to keep pruning this one, so I'm giving it away. I have a woman who's coming to take it to her garden. So what I'm just gonna do today is just give it a big prune, and because we're going into fall, it's a perfect time to kind of cut it back and transplant it. So hopefully it'll do really well in our garden. So before I dig it up, I'm gonna cut it back severely. All right, so as I was pruning that back, I gave it a really severe prune. I'll have some green on it just to regrow. Then I gave it a good water just as it started to rain, of course. And then a woman and her son came, and they have a big property in the next town over. So it's going to a new home. And I'm always happy when I can gift plants so they're not going into the compost or waste, and they'll just live their life somewhere else, because this Spirea has been in there for several years and it's extremely well rooted. You can see we had to cut some of the roots there, and it's time for something new. Hi friends, sorry for the harsh lighting here. It is just before noon, so it is a beautiful sunny day in September. It's one of those, some days we get these rainy days, some days we get these sunny days. That's pretty much par for the course in September. But I wanted to show you, this is the side border of the driveway here. And what I did is I dug out my lilac on standard, which was initially planted here. So what had happened is the ground was too soft. It kind of leaned over, and then it wasn't standing upright. So I had that problem. So I was gonna dig it out regardless and replant it. But as you can see, I didn't want to do it while everything was blooming. So what happened is when I dug out my Spirea, I decided to move the lilac on standard to this location. And you can see I got to replant it. I did a pretty good job this time to make sure that the ground was really solid. I added compost. I made sure to tamp it down. So I'm really hoping that this survives the winter and fall, and also the windstorms that are inevitably coming our way. It was a little bit stressed, but I think this change in leaf color is normal because it is deciduous, so it will eventually drop its leaves. I also added a clematis, which I had just purchased on clearance from Home Depot, and it's a pilu. I think that's how you say it, P-I-L-L-U. It has beautiful pink flowers, and I like to just wrap the trunk with that just because it just adds a little bit more flower power, and it covers the bare bark of the stem here, or trunk I should say. So I planted it right next to the base of the root ball of this, and I planted it as deep as I could, which wasn't actually very deep. So it's looking really healthy, and I'll pop in a picture of that clematis so you can see what it is supposed to look like. And I've also just tied it in somewhat, so just tied it in to get it started. And then of course we are going into fall, so it's not going to bloom this year, it'll bloom next year, but I'm really excited about this planting. And the reason that I had to take out the Spirea is because it outgrew the spot, and then my neighbor who parks on here asked me to remove it also because it was kind of making it difficult for him to park and get out of his vehicle and open the door without kind of coming up across it. So this I think will be really nice because when it's in bloom, it'll provide a really beautiful scent as well. So that'll be nice for them. And what I also planted on both sides, now I had this gap here, is that I popped in some Munstead lavender. And the Munstead lavender is going to be drought tolerant, which is great for this area because this is obviously going to be a very hot, very dry area, and the less water I need to put here, the better. So I think that'll do really well. I think I've shown my lavender in other videos and it gets really quite large, so I think it'll also kind of hide the ground and cover up, which is what I want. I was going to cut the blooms down, but as you can see, there are bees all over this. As soon as I popped it, actually, while it was still in the can, bees just came right up. So yeah, I just don't have the heart to, take the flowers away from the pollinators quite yet. So I'm going to leave them for now, and I will, before it gets too cold, I probably will cut those down, or I can leave it till spring. But just because I did plant them now, I do want to kind of get those taken off so they can focus on root development rather than blooms. But as you can see, bees are all over this one. So yeah, I think that's a good start for this little vignette area of the garden bed. And unfortunately there's no edging here, so I just have to kind of put the rocks back and kind of tidy it up a bit, water it in, and it's good to go. And at some point I'll give that a good shear back, so these will come back kind of fresh and new. The reason they're kind of tilted and leaning is because of the fact that they were in the cans for so long and they were extremely root bound, so I had to really break up those roots. But yeah, the bees are very happy, as you can see. Hello friends, so I have a project today. I'm out here in between rain showers and I'm under the covered porch right now because I figure I could do that even if it rains. So I have these planters here, these 3 planters with boxwoods in them. Unfortunately, last winter I didn't water this guy. The other ones get overhead water from rain dripping down from above, but this one is under the covered patio, so it doesn't, and as you can clearly see, it has died. I didn't have time all year and wasn't able to take care of this, so it sat here. I actually even debated spray painting it green, but I didn't do that. So now today I'm going to try to get it out of here and replace it. So my plan is to try to cut this out, and it's going to be a little tough because it's been in here for years. I have a number of tools here to help. So I have a hedge trimmer, like hand shears. I have a hand chainsaw, like a little mini chainsaw. And I've got pruning shears. So I'm going to cut it back kind of as low as I can possibly get it, and then soak it, and then try to pull up the roots that way. So let's get started. All right, the rain has started again, but I've gotten some progress made on this. So what I did is I used these pruners, these hand pruners, and just took off the thinner branches. Just did kind of lifted the leaf canopy, took off all those tiny small branches that I could cut. So you can see the cuts here with the small pruner. Now I'm going to go in with the bigger pruner to try to get the thicker branches. But as you can see, there was actually 4 plants in here, so it's planted pretty densely, and they look like they're kind of planted a little bit farther back. I did not plant this, but yeah, it's interesting to see how it was planted so densely. All right, so the rain continues, but I've managed to cut back and pull out the dead boxwoods, and I have a full pop-up bag and I've got the dead boxwoods there. They had a very fibrous root system, so it took a bit of elbow grease to get them up and actually knocked this planter off the pot toes. And you can see that it's probably not quite halfway full, just shy of halfway full. And I was debating if I should take all of this out, but I think that's just going to be too much for me to do. So I think what I'll do is I'll just top it up with compost rather than replace it all. And let me show you the boxwoods. So you can take a look at their root system here, how thick and fibrous they are. Quite extensive. And my plan is I'm not going to replace this with more boxwoods, and the reason is because I think it's only a matter of time before boxwood blight comes to Pacific Northwest and the Fraser Valley, the region that I'm in. And I have no illusions about that. I think it is only a matter of time. So I'm gonna be proactive and put in yew. So I have 2 yew, because they do get bigger, I think, than the boxwoods. I'm going to plant 2 of them in here, and they are Texas yew Rising Star, and I hope they will do well in this pot. I'm going to give it a lot of compost, and I'm also going to plant them higher than the boxwoods were planted. The boxwoods were planted quite deep, but I'm hoping that'll form a nice hedge, the 2 plants eventually. So that's the plan. So I'm going to just go take this, dump this in the compost, and go from there. Alright, so I'm in the garage and I found this half bag of essential soils, which I picked up at Costco in the spring. So this, I think, will be good because it says blend it into your existing soil. So that container, I do have kind of existing soil in there. There is a container on the picture, a hanging basket, and whatnot. So I think this will be good. It says that it will is blended with sea soil and coconut coir. I'm not sure how to say that. But anyways, I think this will be a good choice to add to my container to give the yews a good start. So I think I'll try that, and then top up with pure sea soil compost as well. Here we go. So we've popped in this bag of essential oil soils. So half of that has gone into this container, and I can show you just the texture. So you can see it's got a little bit of bark in there. I think that'll help with drainage, and I'm just going to mix it up with the existing soil. If I had the physical capacity, I probably would empty this whole container and put fresh soil in. I just don't have that in me, so I think that's why I've left this project so long. But I'm also going to top dress it with some sea soil, which is organic compost, and give this, I think with that combination, this should be very good medium for the plants. And here is one of the this is a yew, and this one is a Texas Rising Star yew. And you can see it takes sun or part shade, and it was a half price. And the good thing is, when I bought it, I mentioned that it was a little bit scorched, and they said if it doesn't survive, you can actually return it to Home Depot. They have a plant guarantee or shrub guarantee. So we'll give it a good try, and if not, then, well, maybe it'll be worth hanging on to the containers and returning them if not the case. But I've got 2 of these. I think there'll be plenty of room for them to grow in here and make a nice little hedge. So I mixed in the sea soil. I decided to leave a little bit of a lip just for watering. I know this will settle as well, so I think that's fine. This is my other yew. So I'm just going to take the tag off. Already took the tag off the other one, and get them in there. Alright, we've got our 2 yew planted in this container. I'm very happy that this is done. I'm looking forward to seeing them fill out. As you can see, the one on the right is quite a bit healthier and taller, about quite a bit taller with new growth. I think that's why I put that one in the back. I think the one in the front will get a little bit more sun, so it should catch up hopefully. So I'm just going to water this in, even though you can see it's raining cats and dogs. I'm going to give this a water because this is undercover, and I'm going to not make the same mistake. I'm going to make sure I water it in the winter, give it some water so it survives undercover here. And I'll take off the tag, clean up, get this trash put away, get all my tools put away, and then I'll give the final look.